Hello everybody, welcome to this wonderful reading. I'm Zoe Youngs, welcome. In this reading I'm going to provide you is that this is going to be for a Leo reading. It's good for March 28th to April 8th of 2025. So basically this is going to be a wonderful reading that I'm going to provide you. I'm so sorry that I have a low voice, I'm sorry about that. But this is going to be very keen about what's going on in this virtual situation, how everything is going to be end up being and all what have you. But there are things that you must learn first order to discover what you're feeling, what you are, attend to and all of that. But there are things you need to understand about, what's troubling you, what's going on, what's your preferences, whatever it is. But there are things that you need to, how you can do that, how you can be creative, how you can stand out. There are things that you need to understand that there are priorities that you need to learn, and those priorities need to be, how it is, right? This is not really a stuck in stone situation. It's just not, where you're gonna write on things on words, whatever it is, right? You have to provide what you're looking for on how you can proceed with caution. That's the way of how it is. So during that, this is a general reading. If you're a Leo as a fire sign, yes, but if you are not and you're just a cross watcher, or if you're a different zodiac sign or whatever it is, you can pay attention to this as well. But in my own standards, in my own proposition of how everything is, you have to be prepared about what's happening in that surroundings. You have to do what you're told to do, be responsible, be how you're feeling, be how you desire what you want, what you need, what you do, right? And there are things you need to understand about what's happening in that perspective, That's how it is, right? This is how it's going to be based on that in theory. So, during that time, basically on how this is, you have to understand about how it's going to be in that way. So if you see me drinking coffee, I'm going to drink some coffee, basically about how this in this video is, and you will hear me of what's happening in this whole entire situation for a Leo as a fire sign, but that's how it seems to be in that way. So this oracle card I'm going to read you is health. I will honor the physic vessel that enshrines my soul. When you look at health, you have to look at how you're feeling, how you're going to be wanted, how you're, physically, where you're going to have your own mobility of knowing about your mental health, the way how you're feeling, the way how you're acting, the way how you can motivate yourself. When you have your own mental health, you have to figure out what's happening in that criteria, because when you have health, you have to have knowing about what's going on in that situation, knowing about how you can, have your own perseverance. When you have health, you have to provide what you're looking for in that way, because when you have health, you have to pay attention to it. Whether you're feeling okay, whether you're not feeling okay, whether you're feeling fine, when you're not feeling fine, you have to remember that when you have health, you have that ability from understand that. That's the way it's going to be, okay? So, when you have that, that's the way it kind of goes. That's how it is in that wonderful position of how it's going to be. So, you have to understand that you have to provide what you're looking for in that way, and you have to think that, okay, well, everything seems to be fine. It's like, yeah, but there are things they need to understand of what's going on. So, like I say, I'm so sorry about my voice being low like this today. I'm so sorry. But the point being is that you have to do what you need to do in that way. You have to provide about seeing, your own way about how you're feeling, how you're acting, how you are going to get involved, and you have to do what you can. Then you have to think about how everything is going to be in that way, and you think that, okay, well, everything seems to be fine and what have you. So, that's the way it is. That's the way it needs to be attended. That's the way it always is in that way. And you think that everything seems to be graceful, and that's how it is. So, basically, in this way of how you're feeling, I'm going to look at what's going on from the way of how this is. This is going to be a very different reading, but this is the way it goes in that way. So when you believe that you can understand that, that's the way it kind of evolves. Yes, that's the way it seems to be in that format. And you think that, well, is this going to be very significant? It will be, but this is how it is. So here we go. So basically, in this wonderful reading that I'm going to provide you is where you have the Eight of Pentacles is upright. It does represent where you're focusing about more of your career in that specific position. The Hermit is upright where you're having solitude. Maybe you're going to look for a soulmate. That's the way it goes in that ability from that. The King of Reverse, you don't have any support. I don't know why. The Magician Reverse, you don't have any skill. I don't know why. You don't have any charisma for the Queen of Wands Reverse. And the Ace of Wands Reverse, you have no new beginnings. That's very interesting. So, in the way of how this is going to be, I'm going to basically do what I can to clarify as much as I can, because this is how it is. So I'm going to go from right on the right side to the left of this side. So I'm going to clarify the Queen of Wands all the way to the Eight of Pentacles. So this is going to be very interesting. So we have the Ten of Swords is upright, followed by the Sun card is upright, followed by the Temperance card is upright, followed by the Four of Pentacles is upright, followed by the Knight of Wands is upright, followed by the Three of Cups reversed. So it does represent where you have no excitement. The Knight of Wands does represent immaturity. You're being immature. I don't know why. But there are things that you need to understand. You're staying positive. You have your healing. You want money. You have conclusions. You have lots of things are going on all at once. The Three of Cups reverse, I'm going to clarify that. The Ten of Wands reverse, so there's no burdens. The King of Cups reverse, there's no support. But the Three of Swords is upright. There's heartbreak. In that position, things will go as long as it planned. That's how you're going to pan out, as it seems to be in that way. And you think that everything seems to be fine and dandy, what have you. But there are things that you need to understand about what's going on in that specific position. And you think, okay, well, everything seems to be all good. Yes, but this is the way it kind of is in that way, right? You think that everything seems to be fine, everything seems to be dandy, what have you. So Magician, I'm going to clarify the Magician to the Eight of Pentacles. So let's see. So Ten of Pentacles is upright, followed by the Lovers reverse, followed by the Three of Pentacles reverse, followed by the Two of Cups reverse. So there is no relationships or friendships. There's no excitement. There's no decisions. But then the Ten of Pentacles is upright because you're looking for a career. Whether you have a career or not. That's how it's based on. Now, the Ace of Wands reverse to the Ten of Swords, I'm going to clarify that. He wants this upright, so you're showing me that there could be passion. Two of Pentacles reverse, there's no balancing. Queen of Swords reverse, there's no independence. The Hierophant is upright, followed by the Three of Wands is upright, followed by the Strength card reverse. So basically, it means that you have no strength. I don't know why. The Hierophant does represent where you're going to have guidance, whatever it seems to be. The Three of Wands is upright where you're going to have communication. There are things that you need to understand to evaluate your own, how you can do it in that way. The Queen of Swords reverse and the Two of Pentacles. So I don't know what's going on with that. I'm going to clarify. The Seven of Swords is upright. Yeah, because you're feeling that you're feeling deceit. You're feeling there are things that are going as, what was happening in that position, right? So when you have to have that based on where you get to select of how you're feeling, the way of how this is going to go, you have to think, oh, well, I'll do this. I'll know what's happening. Because when you think back, you think about how you were feeling, the last time, when you're feeling all positive, when you're feeling all great. But when things are not going as planned, when you're thinking that you're being all sad and whatever, it's drawn to it, you, right? It's drawn to that way. So you're trying to figure out, well, this is the way it needs to be. This is the way it kind of happens. So let me clarify. This Seven of Swords, why you're feeling deceit. So let me do like a 3-card reading. So the Sun card is upright, followed by the Wheel of Fortune is upright, followed by the World reversed. So you're having good luck on your side, you're having positivity, but then the Wheel of Fortune reversed, or the World reversed, means that you have no incompletion. But you have the Lovers is upright, so you're going to make decisions. That's the way it kind of concludes in that format. Things will go as planned. Things will go as a wonderful feeling on how you can proceed with caution. Now, the point being is that in this wonderful, fantastic reading, you have to pay attention to it. Now, the Strength card reversed, I'm going to clarify that. The High Priestess reversed, followed by the World is upright. So there is completion here, right? So when this was incompleted, you have completion here. What's this High Priestess about? The Star is upright. So there is inspiration, yeah, because you want to wish upon something. You want to do exactly how you're going to be acting, how you can be feeling, like there are things that you need to understand that. What's between this Lovers card for Leo? The Justice is upright, the Hangman reversed, the Death card reversed. So there's no endings, there's no restrictions, but the Justice is upright where you take an action. What's the opposite between the Death card and the Hangman? The Sun card is upright. So you have positivity. Exactly. Because you want to stay positive as much as you can. That's the way it needs to be in that format. Because you have to think that everything seems to be all great. And you think that, oh, well, why me? I need to do that. I need to how everything seems to be all great. Yes. But you have to provide what you're looking for in that based on how you're feeling, how you're acting, how you are, do whatever you want to do. That's how it seems to be, because you have to think that, oh, well, everything seems to be all welcomed, and that's the way it kind of imposes, because that's what it seems to be. So you need to understand of how you can understand of how you're feeling. So let me clarify. Now, I'm going to look at the past, the present, and the future for Leo. So let me clarify. So I'll do one card. One card for the Sun, what's in the middle, and then what's on the right. So what's this Sun card is? 8 Cups is upright. Okay, so you want to be an entertainer, alright? What's in the middle? Ace of Pentacles is upright. Okay, what's on the right? 9 Pentacles is upright, so you're feeling comfortable. Alright, so that's how it seems to be. So this is the past, the present, and the future. This is the way kind of into that position. So this is how it's going to be very crystal clear, where things might be going as planned or not. But this is how it's going to be in that position. So let me clarify the past here. So I'm going to do a 3-card reading for this. The Fool is upright, followed by the 10 of Cups, 10 Pentacles reversed, followed by the High Priestess reversed. So basically in the past you have no money, right? You don't have any money. I don't know why. The Fool is upright, you're going to change that. We're going to look at, okay, well, we'll have money when it comes to that position. The high priest reverse, you're not showing any. Basically, you're telling me because there are no inner voice. You're not using your inner voice. So it's like, why? Why not accepting it? Because you're changing. That's the way it goes. When you have change, you have discipline. You know, when you have discipline, you have change. Whatever it is, right? Whatever it's going to be positioned, where you need to understand that, where you're going to have that valuation and do what you can, because that's how this needs to be. So that's what the past is for you, Leo. In the present right now, you have the Ace of Pentacles. It does represent prosperity. It does represent money in that position. But I'm going to clarify that. I'm going to do a 3-card reading again. So 9 Pentacles reversed, Ace of Pentacles reversed, followed by the 6 Wands is upright. So you're going to celebrate, okay? So when the Ace of Pentacles reversed, you have no prosperity because you already have money. 9 Pentacles reversed, it means that you have, you're feeling uncomfortable. But then you have 6 Wands that represents Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. It could be in your birth chart, but does represent where you have celebration on your side, right? Because you want to celebrate. That's the way it goes, right? So that's how it seems to be. That's in the present. In the future, the 9 Pentacles, I'm going to clarify that. The King Pentacles reversed, followed by the Queen Wands is upright, followed by the Star reversed. So it does represent where you have no inspiration, but the Queen Wands is upright. It does represent charisma. The King Pentacles reversed, there's no prospects, or there's no things that you need to do what you can, but then you need to have the variety of things that you need to learn. You need to have your self-expression, right? That's what it seems to be in that format. That's the way it kind of goes in that way, right? Because you think everything seems to be all crystal clear, everything will be fine, everything is how it is, because that's the way it goes, right? That's how it seems to be in this wonderful reading, because that's what it seems to be. So you understand this whole entire reading, right? You do. Okay. So that's how it seems to be. Now, in that note of the past, you pay attention to what you're going to be doing. Pay attention about the present. Pay attention about the future. That's how it seems to be in this wonderful format. Now, that's the way of how it is in one way or another. But I'm going to be doing something very interesting of how this is going to be knowing. So we're going to figure out who's who in this position. So I've already shuffled all this, but we're going to figure out who's on the left, who's in the middle, who's on the right. What zodiac signs are we having? So let's see. So in the past, over here, on the left side, it says the 5 of fire. Competing goals, bothersome details, conflict with others. That's the way it goes, where you have to believe that things are not going as planned, things are not going as your own way, and you think that why I'm feeling like I'm bothered or something, when you have that way, you need to figure out how you can do it in that position. That's the way it needs to be. This is like the way of how you can look at from a different perspective. When you do that, you need to understand that about your point of view and how you're feeling, how you feel wanted, whatever it is. But that's how it seems to be. So you could be focusing on a Leo, Aries, or Sagittarius as a fire sign, as a zodiac sign. Okay, that's on the left side. In the middle, let's see, for the present, you have the Ace of Earth. The inflow of abundance, a promising business venture, important documents or contracts. That's the way it goes, where you're focusing on your own abundance, where you can be looking for your own money on how it is in that way. So you could be dealing with another Virgo, Capricorn, or Taurus as a earth signs, as zodiac signs, okay? That's how it says. And on the right side, you have, in the future, on the right side, it says, the Queen of Earth, thoughtful, creative, warm, sensible. Make time for those around you. Take a sensible approach, deal with challenges in a kind and understanding manner. Yeah, so when you deal with challenges in a kind manner, you pay attention on how you're feeling, how you feel wanted, how you feel needed. That's what it seems to be. So you have to pay attention on how things to be and how you can feel on how you can do it in that position, right? So when you feel like, okay, well, things can be fine, it's like, yeah, but how you can do it, how you can motivate your own self, that's the way it goes, right? So when things, how it is, you have to pay attention to it. So that's how it seems to be. So in the future, you could be dealing with another Virgo, Capricorn, or Taurus as a zodiac signs, as your signs, okay? That's what it seems to be in that position. Let's see what the oracle cards are saying. And then I'll read you the last end of the Enchanted Mapp. So let's see who's on the left side. The Sun Dancers. Joyful activity, celebration of life, abundance. That's the way it goes, where you can have a joyful of life, or you have a celebration of life, or you have abundance. You need to understand that in that ability. So you could deal with another, for a feminine, as a woman, it could be another Leo, Aries, or Sagittarius as a zodiac signs, okay? What's in the middle of the present? The Camel Boy, small steps, asking for help. That's the way it goes in that criteria. So when you're asking for help, or when you take small steps, whatever it is, that's how it seems to be. That's the way it kind of concludes in that way. And that's the way of how it is in the way of how you're feeling. So you could be dealing with another Virgo, Capricorn, or Taurus as the masculine man, okay? As the zodiac signs. And on the right side as the future, the Trust Queen. Trust and strategizing. Yeah, so you could be having trust or strategizing in your own ability from, winning something, or, where there's warfare or whatever it is, but you need to have your own self-control. You have to pay attention on how things going to be in that position, right? So when you do what you can, that's the way of how it goes in that way, in that wonderful position, and you think, okay, well, everything's going to be fine. Yes, but in that note, you have to do what you can in that way. So you could be focusing on another feminine as a Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus as another zodiac signs. So that's how it needs to be, I guess. And not only that, we have the Enchanted Mapp here, because you want to hear my beautiful voice. This is how it seems to be, I guess. This is going to be good so far. So let's see what's happening. Let's see. here we go. So number 14, reversed, is ride the wave. So this is very interesting. So it's reversed. Alright. So it says, number 14, so it says ride the wave, but it says reversed. It says, you may be mistaking a rugged wave for a fun ride. You can only coast for so long before you hit the shoreline with a smack. The tide is ebbing, and your activities are now preparing you for when that wonderful wave comes in for you to ride. You're meant to learn how to be a strong swimmer now. Don't worry, preparation ensures a successful result. However, you must wait patiently for the right moment to come. Now is the time for conscious preparation and skill building. So it means that you're waiting for the next wave to come, because that's the way of how you can position yourself in one way or another. So you have to think that, well, everything's going to be all good and things how it is, and you have to think that, well, this is the way it needs to be in that way, and you think that, oh, well, I need to know what's going on in that position. That's how it seems to be. That's how it kind of concludes. But in theory, in the way of how this is going to be, you have to be selective. You have to be what's going on in that position. Whether if you're going to do what you need to do, and you have to believe on how you can do it. Wait until you have time to be prepared and do what you can, so when you have skill building, when you have whatever you do, and you're surfing the wave or whatever it is, you do what you can, but you have to wait for the right moment. That's why this is a very good reading for you, Leo. I'm so sorry about my voice being low. I'm so sorry, but the point being is that this is the way of how you can understand of how you're feeling, how you can be wanted, how you can be, how you can do it, right? So when you feel like you're being observant, or how it is, you have to pay attention on how it is in one way or another. So this is how it is, right? And I always say it, and I'll say it again, is seeing is believing, believing is seeing. That's all you can do. And there's a good saying is, slow and steady wins the race. That's how you can understand that. But before I let you all go, try to pay attention on how this reading is going to go. I hope you all enjoy it. I hope you all understand it. And that's how it seems to be in that way. So that's how it kind of is at the moment. And that's how it seems to be. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day to all. And I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye for now. Thank you. And bye.